Take a look at Monique Johnson here. You're looking at a real-life Tasmanian devil. This wicked woman, she's been allowed to put her hands on men for decades now and even take their lives and still walk free. Because she's a woman, she's been able to get away with a lot without being held accountable. Monique used to be an officer at the Shelby County, Tennessee jail. She was dating a police officer when she was working at the jail in 2006. That officer was Tony Hayes with the Memphis Police Department. She took his life and was only given 4 years probation. Now, 17 years after she took out Tony, she tried to get rid of another boyfriend. Monique is back behind bars where she should have been all along. They should have locked this zoo animal up in 2006 and left her there, but they allowed this filthy pelican to fly away like nothing happened. So that's why we're back in the same place all over again. Luckily though, the new boyfriend, he survived to tell his side of the story. We're going to get into how this woman, she's been arrested twice within 90 days for her out of order behavior. But first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. If you're watching from Shelby County, Tennessee, definitely let me know below in the comments. I want to see 901. So look who's back in jail. It's Monique Johnson. Years ago, she worked at the Shelby County jail, and these days, she's been working with your packages at FedEx. She's a lot older this time, 54 years old, soon to be 55 in November. The last time she found herself in the same situation, she was about 37, 38. She was just arrested a couple of months ago in July and was locked up again on October 13th. Monique is being held on a $300,000 bond. When someone with her history, she should have been denied altogether. On July 24th, 2023, she was arrested for an incident with her latest boyfriend. According to the court documents I have here, Monique reportedly went through his phone, saw that he had been talking to other women, and then tried to kick him out of her house at 5 o'clock in the morning. The thing is, she wouldn't allow him to take his clothes. She kept his phone and everything and kicked him out. Then she took the video from her doorbell camera of him walking out the house with no clothes on and sent that video along with pictures to people on his phone. Here's the report from that incident on July 24th. It says Shelby County deputies responded to theft complaint at the victim's house. Upon arrival, deputies spoke with the victim, who advised multiple items were stolen from him by his girlfriend, suspect Monique Johnson. Victim stated he was asleep at suspect Johnson's residence. Victim stated he was awakened around 5 a.m. by Johnson, demanding him to leave her residence. Victim stated he later discovered suspect Johnson had gone through his phone and discovered he had been communicating with other females. Victim stated suspect Johnson put him out of her residence and refused to give him his clothes, including underwear, his phones, his watch, and his wallet. The victim advised after several attempts, he has not been able to retrieve his property from suspect Johnson. Victim advised he later discovered suspect Johnson sent a photo and video from her Ring doorbell camera of him leaving her residence naked to several contacts in his phone. 2 of the victim's phone contacts submitted statements confirming the suspect contacted them and sent the content to them. Witnesses also confirmed they received an additional photo from suspect Johnson showing the victim lying in a bed completely naked. Then they listed the items that the victim said that she stole from him. That's an iPhone Pro Max, estimated value $1,800, iPhone Plus, estimated $1,200, Apple Watch 7 series, estimated value $550, clothes and shoes, estimated $1,000, and his wallet, estimated $10. Victim advised his wallet contained his ID and credit cards, and they said this did occur in Shelby County, Tennessee. This case is still active, by the way. Monique was charged with theft by taking $2,500 to $10,000 and unlawful exposure for sending out that video and pictures to people. Now here's the thing, a restraining order was put in place. Monique wasn't even supposed to be around him. But on Friday the 13th, he was laid up with Monique once again. It was early morning Friday, October 13th, 2023. The man was sleeping. Monique hit him. And when he opened his eyes, she was standing there pointing a gun at him. then told him that she would take him out right there. When he jumped up to defend himself, they got into a tussle for that gun that started in his bedroom and ended in his garage. In the process of him trying to take that gun from her, Monique shot him in his hand and his shoulder. She then drove away from his residence with his cell phone and Apple Watch, then went to work her shift at FedEx like nothing ever happened. For one, Monique violated a restraining order. She wasn't even supposed to be around him. Then she's a convicted felon. She's not supposed to have that gun either. But here she is again, 15 years later, after walking away a free woman and not being held accountable for the death of her last boyfriend. She attempted to take the life of another boyfriend and was prepared to lie to her jury once again, but this time, her new boyfriend survived. Unfortunately though, her ex, Tony Hayes, he didn't survive to tell his story. Back in 2006, she took Tony's life, then got her teenage son to help her put his body in the trunk. After that, they went out to eat like nothing happened. Very similar to how she shot her new boyfriend, then drove to work like it was a regular day. In 2006, Officer Tony's family and colleagues searched for days before his body was found. Ultimately, Monique was charged. She was a jealous, evil woman, but she went to trial and claimed that she was a battered woman. 17 years ago, while all of that was going on, one of her ex-boyfriends, he said that he knew that she took Officer Tony's life because when he dated her, she also threatened him with the gun several times. Monique never went through with her threats against him, but she did follow through with Officer Tony and now her new boyfriend. In the 2006 case, the jury believed her story and she was convicted on the lesser charge of reckless homicide instead of first-degree murder, then only sentenced to 4 years probation.
First at 6, we're taking a deeper dive into the turbulent history of Monique Johnson. She's the 54-year-old woman newly charged with attempted murder after investigators say she shot her ex-boyfriend in Cordova. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. The victim told police he woke up to Johnson pointed a gun at him and he was shot in the shoulder and hand. Detectives say Johnson then stole the victim's phone, went home and changed clothes, then went to work at FedEx, where she was arrested.
But before this saga ever began, Johnson was convicted of killing a Memphis police officer. Arshay Arthur spent hours poring over WREG archives today, and tonight she brings us details of Johnson's criminal past.
Before this mugshot of 54-year-old Monique Johnson wearing her FedEx uniform, Johnson spent plenty of time in front of a camera. Rewind 17 years ago, 2006. Our crews were there as she appeared before a Shelby County judge, accused of killing her then-boyfriend, Memphis police officer Tony Hayes. But before Johnson, back then a deputy jailer, was charged, there was a search for Hayes when he didn't show up for work. Here's our reporting from 2006.
News Channel 3 cameras roll as detectives bust their way into the home of one of their own, missing police officer Tony Hayes. The mystery surrounding his disappearance remains unsolved.
Then Police Director Larry Godwin spoke about his disappearance.
That's not like him. According to his supervisors, always early, hard worker.
Johnson was eventually charged in Hayes' death. She admitted to killing him, but says it was in self-defense. She says the night of the murder, he trapped her in a bathroom. That's when she shot him 6 times. In one jailhouse interview, she told WREG, "He's choked me, punched me in my arms and thighs. He's even held me at knife point once."
Yeah, and they believe that lying manipulator in court. Just 4 months before she took his life, he had to call the police on her. Why? She was putting hands on him. She vandalized his furniture, his clothes, and cars. She cut power cords to his TVs, carved curse words on his bed's leather headboard, cut up every single piece of clothing that he had. She filled his dress shoes with baby oil. She sliced up his mattress, then headed to the garage where she scratched up his convertible Corvette and his Mercedes Benz. And what was her excuse for doing all of this? Officer Hayes told police that she was mad that he got a call from another woman. The next time the police showed up to his house, they came there to look for his body. And not only did she have issues with him, but her ex-boyfriends before her, they too had to get restraining orders against this woman. But she went to court and played victim, when historically she's always been the one to initiate and escalate these incidents.
Investigators say after Johnson killed Hayes, her son helped her load his body into the trunk of a car. Then they went to eat. During our reporting around the time of Johnson's arrest, we also spoke with a man who said he was her ex-boyfriend.
I'm more than certain that she did it.
What makes you say that?
It's the fact that she pulled out a gun on me more than once.
Court records from that time period showed evidence of their volatile relationship. In 2008, 2 years after Hayes' death, the jury convicted Johnson on a lesser charge of reckless homicide. She was sentenced to 4 years probation. Shay Arthur, WREG, News Channel 3.
And Johnson is set to be in court on these new charges tomorrow. She's being held on $300,000 bond.
And then you know that show on Oxygen, Snapped? Monique was able to get on there. She appeared on the show along with her son. All of the men involved with her literally laid up with the devil. She beat the old charges in 2008, that's 15 years ago. And now this time she's charged with first-degree attempted murder. In addition, domestic assault, theft of property for taking his phone and Apple Watch. She was also charged with violating the restraining order, the one that was put in place after the July incident. She was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and robbery. Obviously, this Tasmanian devil has been doing this her whole life. She was acting up in her 30s, got away with it, was up there working at the jailhouse, dated an officer, took that father away from his 2 children. And the most disgusting part of the Tony Hayes case is how this woman lied, manipulated the jury, and walked away with probation. Then in her 40s, you already know she was still acting up and got away with it. And now this middle-aged woman who should be enjoying her AARP benefits right now and living a quiet, peaceful life, this is what she's doing. Laying up with men, going through their phones like she's in middle school, and then attempting to do the same thing to him that she did to Tony. She threatened multiple men over the years and shot 2 of them, deleted 1. And listen, I gotta say it, this new boyfriend is absolutely insane. Why in the world will you be dealing with a woman who took out another man? This woman is known around town for what she did. This was a really big deal 17 years ago. And she didn't leave Shelby County, she stayed there, working at FedEx like she's a normal person. Why in the world will you even be entertaining this devil? Sir, I'm sorry, but you really need help. And then for her to do what she did to you in July, less than 90 days ago, and she's at it again? She wasn't even supposed to be around you. The judge told this lady to stay away from you. And then this time you have her at your house, as if it's more safe because she's at your residence versus hers? Crazy is gonna clap at you anywhere. That's why you don't lay down with the devil. And then he's so comfortable around this wicked woman, he fell asleep, only for her to repeat the same song and dance all over again. Y'all love dancing with the devil, huh? Nah, this is foolish. Whatever happens to you after you trust a woman like Monique is definitely on you. We're talking about a woman that took the life of another man. She kicked you out of her house in the middle of the night, then stole all your stuff, embarrassed you by sending video of you leaving her house with nothing on, and then also sent out pictures of you with nothing on while sleeping in her bed. And after all of that, you let her in your house? They need to lock this woman up, put her under the jail. She's destroyed so many people around her, from Tony's family, his mother, his children, the people he left behind, her own son. What do you think he went through being raised by this dirty pelican? Took a man's life and had her son help her get rid of his body. Back then he was a teenager, but now he's a grown man. He's in his early 30s now. Wonder what happened to him. And now the new guy, he is absolutely out of his mind. Laid up with this woman and almost got deleted, just like that. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Will Monique finally be held accountable this time? Special thank you to my sister Ninice. I appreciate you, Ninice, for all of your support. As well as Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Shout out to Calvin and Adrian. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.